Hello friends, it's Dave here from SaveDex.
And I'm Sophie.
And we're here to talk to you about Rogue Heroes Ruins of Tasos, which is a game coming out on the Nintendo Switch. So what is our history with this game?
So I played the demo, and then you played the demo, and then we did a video about the demo. And then we got a code from SwitchUp, and their review is up now.
Yeah, so basically we requested a review code, because sometimes we write reviews for SwitchUp. And we said to them, I think it's the first time we've ever actually requested a specific game, just because of how much you personally loved this demo.
I really did.
And so they gave us a review code. So again, we've written the review for them already. That review is up on their channel now. Link will be in the description if you want to check that one out. And then they gave us 2 review codes, so we could actually do a video on our channel as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of us writing a second review for the game, because it would be weird for us to write a review for them and then write a different review for us while saying we don't want to repeat what we said with them.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, what's the point in that? So we're doing a more discussion-based review, just saying what our thoughts were. If you want to know like the technicals and the proper analysis with review scores, that's on their channel. Check them out after this one. But we're going to talk about more of the personal experience we had with this game.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm. So what's the game about, Dave?
So this game is an action-adventure sort of roguelike game. It's based on Link to the Past, it seems to be.
Okay.
So how the story starts is you've got these 4 goddesses, it says in the past,
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice themselves to seal these titans or tyrants or
Titans.
in the dungeons. And over the years, they've been breaking free, and so you have to go to these dungeons and stop them from breaking free.
Brilliant.
Pretty much it. So what is the main draw of this game though? What is this, just like Link to the Past?
It does play like Link to the Past, but the dungeons are randomly generated.
Yeah, they are. So we'll talk about the dungeons first. There's overworld stuff to get into as well, but we'll go through the dungeons first. So as you'd expect with a roguelike, it's randomly generated. You can get permanent upgrades. So you go through the dungeons and you go from room to room to room. There's block puzzles, sort of switch puzzles, the sort of things you see in a Zelda game. There's enemies to fight and all that lot. You collect gems on the way.
Yep.
And these gems, every time you die, you'll go back to the village you started at. And yeah, we'll start. How does the village start actually? Let's say that.
Oh, so you wake up in your house, kind of like every
Zelda game
every
starts
Zelda
with
game.
that, so they're doing well there.
And then you roll out of bed, you go outside, and there's a guy out there, like a builder, and he's called Griff, and he wants 80 gems for his workshop, so he can build up the village of Interi, or I think something like that.
They're pretending that's the reason you're going into the dungeons.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's basically what you do. Once you've got the 80 gems, you can spend that to get the workshop skins and then start building your village, which can then, we'll go into that a bit more later on, but you can basically upgrade yourself there. So each time you go to a dungeon, it'll be different every time from your last attempt.
Yes, it'll be different layout rather than different.
Yeah, it's not completely random, because there's if you think Link to the Past, when you could not Link to the Past, Link's Awakening remake, where you had that dungeon builder, you could create your own dungeons, but you could only use rooms from existing dungeons, rooms that already exist within the game. It's kind of like that, but if you were to hit the random button on that, so there's a set number of existing rooms, but it's random which rooms you'll encounter each time. It's not like completely random from the ground up each time. So you'll encounter rooms you've seen before and you'll know how to solve those puzzles the next time you go in. The enemy placement will be different.
Yeah, and sometimes the enemies are different as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you'll get sometimes you'll go into the room and there'll be snakes all over the place, another time there'll be skeletons, things like that.
Bats.
And bats as well. And sometimes the enemies could be placed right at the door, so when you enter the room you just immediately take a hit and die.
And if you're on low health as well, you're dead.
Definitely. And there's 3 floors to each dungeon.
Yes.
And when you get to another floor, you can spend 400 gems to create a shortcut, so on your next run you can go straight to that next
Which
door.
is really useful.
Yeah, it's a trope for these sorts of roguelike games to be able to take a shortcut to a later part.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's sort of how the game is really. So how does it control?
So you've got ZL for your shield, Y button for your sword. You've got B for your special move, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
And you've got what does A do?
A's like your interaction, like reading signs and talking to people and picking things up. And then you also got the ZR is to use your item or weapon, your special one you've got equipped.
Yes.
And L and R is to scroll through them. So the items, what are they like?
Well, first of all, we should start off with the fact that when you go into a dungeon, before you've got any of the permanent items, you have glass items.
Yeah, you find like a glass bomb bag or a glass boomerang.
Yeah, or bow and arrow, grappling hook, wand. I think those are all of them.
Yeah.
And when you die, they obviously break in inverted commas, and then you don't have them for the next time round. Sort of with your gems as well. When you get your permanent items, so either you find them at the end of a dungeon or you purchase them, you can upgrade them later on with one of the buildings in the town.
So and there's also bosses. You've got to fight the boss, which are the Titans.
Yes.
So what are they like?
I don't know if they are the Titans, I think they're just like guardians or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of what happens at the end, which I can't tell you.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil anything, by the way.
But I really enjoyed them. The first one was insanely hard, like ridiculous. Yes. And I don't know why, because when I did the demo, it was not that hard.
Yeah, we'll get into another point about the demo as well.
Yes.
Again, so the demo you found easy. I didn't actually play all the way through the demo.
I didn't find easy at first. I found the first 2 floors of the dungeon incredibly difficult, and then I'd leveled up insane amounts, and then that third floor with the boss was just like a breeze.
Yeah.
But this time round, even though I had leveled up like insane amounts, it was harder. But I don't know if that's meant to be or whatever, but anyway.
Yeah, so I was wondering, because the demo's not like reflective of the final game. Things can change.
Yeah,
so I'm wondering whether they made it harder in between. But another thing about the demo is, if you have the demo, it's free. You got over 3 hours out of it.
Yeah, almost
It's
4 hours.
the first dungeon you get with it. You can transfer your save data from the demo onto the main game when you get it, except you couldn't.
I couldn't after I had put in 4 hours. But I mean, it meant I could try again, which was nice. And it was, more difficult, I guess, which is a good thing because it's more
So yeah, we have 2 switches in this house. Both of those switches had the demo on them, and both of those switches got a review copy of the game.
Yeah.
And I, with my very short time limit on the demo, was able to transfer my save data over to the base game.
Yeah.
But you, with your over 3 hours, wasn't able to transfer it over to the main game. And it's a weird thing that happened. So it worked for me, but not for you. So that's all we can really talk about there. So let's talk about the overworld now for a bit. So what can you get in the overworld? We talk about the gems first that you collect in dungeons.
Yes, so the gems you collect in dungeons, you use them in the shops.
Yeah, so every time you die, you go back to the house you woke up in.
Yep, you still have those gems, and you can spend them in the village, and then you can warp. There's a warp point in the village as well, so you can just warp back to the nearest one that's to the dungeon.
Yeah, so every time you enter the dungeon, any gems you have on you, you lose them all. So when you're in the village and you've built up like the clinic and the
forge,
the weapon forge place, there's skill trees to upgrade your health, to upgrade your attack, and like your magic meter and things like that. And they can get really, really expensive as time goes on. But the game just throws gems at you left, right, and centre.
Yeah, of course.
It's very generous.
But I've completed the game, and I think I'm like 75% through, and I've not even completed some of the skill trees. So I've completed the forge one. I haven't done the health one. I haven't done the magic one. You get a gym as well to increase your stamina for like swimming and just generally, and then you get a Rick's tool shed, it's called, and it's for your like grappling hook and boomerang, etc. And I haven't done any of those, so like I've still got a long way to go with those.
Yeah.
And some areas I can't get to because I need my grappling hook to be a bit longer, and that's part of it,
so
like
you can
extending
lengthen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has the whole trope of like in the overworld, you'll beat the first dungeon, say you'll get given a permanent grappling hook or hook shot sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's used to then, there's like a bridge that's down, you can then use it to hook yourself across to get to the second area. And again, we're not going to say anything past the second area anyway, but the second area is like this swamp. And again, so one of the things you can get in the town is the tailors.
You go to the tailors and you can use your gems to make a character class. So there's 8 character classes. You get so you start off with your hero class, but you can get ranger, thief, and witch. But there's other ones.
The B move changes.
Yes, the B move changes. So the witch, for example, flies the broom. I love that. It's
and
cool.
Also the stats of your character, the attack, defense, and speed changes depending on what class you choose.
Definitely.
My favourite preferred one is the knight.
Yes.
Because his B move is to have this long jump.
Yes.
Which, again, in that second area, the swamp, it's so useful to jump these deep, muddy things. And there's also like fetch questy stuff in between, like, you know, to get a certain item to help you navigate through the swamp, you need to retrieve something from an area you can do in the swamp and bring it back to someone in the village, and they give you the thing you need. So it's things like that happen in the overworld. So you'll get items that help you progress, sort of what you see in Zelda, really.
So outside of the quest in the main story, you can buy a farm, just a bit of land, and you can plant some seeds, but you need some you need a shovel and a watering can. Also you can do fishing, which you need a fishing rod for, and you get furniture every time you discover new areas, I think.
Does that decorate your house?
Yeah, so you decorate your house, and I've done it, you can see it now.
And what's the fishing like in this one?
I don't like this fishing mechanic because I don't really like the way that they use the R stick to, I don't know, reel it in, but not, you're reeling in with ZR, but the R stick you're pointing in the direction. I don't really get it. I've never actually fished, so. Yeah,
one thing I've noticed as well about talking about your house, there's a wardrobe you've got.
Yes.
And you go up to that to change your character class of the ones you've purchased at any time. But it would be nice if there was a quick change while you're out and about.
I thought that
to swap
too,
between the classes.
Because there were certain bits that I was like, oh, actually this would be really good as the witch, for example, so I can get around places quicker, or, you know, I could do a jump like with the knight. But it's really, I think I would have preferred it to be on the fly. Yeah, it's not the worst thing, but it's just a little thing that would have streamlined it a little bit more. Definitely.
I mean, like I say, no character is required for any one bit. Is that right?
I don't think so. No.
But there's no bit where you need the knight or you need the mage. Like, there's nothing like that.
I don't think so.
What do you think of the presentation?
It's amazing. I really like the art style, and you know, it reminds me of Stardew Valley, the colour schemes and whatnot.
And again, like I said, I mentioned Link to the Past, it's kind of like reminiscent of that as well. And and you get to choose what your character looks like as well, in a way. You can just choose the colours of your hair, your cloak and your skin tone. I actually tried to make mine look like the Joker, as you've probably seen in this footage, with the purple cloak and green hair.
I just went for black hair like me.
Okay, so we touched on the difficulty earlier of this game, and it is a difficult game, I'm finding anyway. One thing is, you mentioned about the right stick to fish.
Yes.
One thing I noticed that you're pressing Y and a direction to use your sword, but you can also use the right stick to swing your sword in that direction. And the problem I had with that was Joy-Con drift.
Yes.
Once I flicked that right stick in the direction of swinging sword, he was permanently swinging, and I couldn't get him to stop. And the problem is, you've got a stamina meter as well, which runs down whenever you use a special move or swing your sword and like that. And when it runs out, you can't swing your sword anymore. But,
well, he does it slower.
Yeah, so he sort of stands there panting. But it only takes like 2 seconds for it to fill up again. But I suppose that stops you from just brute forcing enemies.
Yeah, I have found that I had to really
evade.
evade and use my shield. And I didn't use my shield a whole lot, but I used it a little bit.
I kept forgetting about the shield. I always forget about shields.
Yeah.
And yeah, the enemies were quite fun to fight as well.
Yes.
I found. I liked the fact, one little detail I liked was the skeletons. Some of them had shields
and
themselves.
you could pull them off.
And if you use the hook shot on it, you can rip the shield away from them. I quite like that. And so how long did this game take you to beat?
About 15 hours.
Yeah, so that's cool. So it's a £16 game, so that's nearly £1 an hour.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
I don't know if that length is to do with me being rubbish, though.
The thing is, the time I've been playing the game, it's taken me longer to get to where I am than it took you to get there, I think.
Yeah.
So, because like, talking about difficulty, we've both found the first dungeon really hard, because you just had to keep dying, go back to the village, upgrade yourself, back to the dungeon, back to the village, upgrade yourself, like constantly like that. And it does get a bit grindy that way, which some people might not like. But also, when you get really powerful and beat that first boss, like it happened to both of us on different playfiles, you found that second swamp, the swamp area.
Easy.
You just beat it first try, did you?
The boss, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the dungeon, like the first and second floor, it took me a little while, but the third, not the third boss, the second boss, it was just a breeze.
Yeah, I haven't got to the second boss yet, but on that swamp level I've gotten to the third floor a lot quicker than I did in the first dungeon. So I know that much, but then you said it got difficult after that.
Oh yeah, it did get difficult.
Yeah, so it sort of starts difficult, gets easy, then gets difficult again. So it's one of those. But if you spend a lot, because you can revisit dungeons that you've already beaten as well.
Yeah.
So you can just grind in the first dungeon over and over again, because it's still very generous with the gems it gives you.
Definitely.
And then just upgrade yourself on the skill trees. Like, again, your health, your magic meter, your stamina, your strength, all that. You can make yourself super powerful and then just breeze your way through it. It's a really fun game.
It is
what
so
do you reckon?
good. Yeah, I really love it.
And there's also co-op as well, local and online.
And we both tried both of them.
Yeah.
The local was quite nice because it zoomed out quite far.
If you separate.
Yeah, it does the same on the online as well, but like, it was nice when we're looking at a TV that's not like right up next to our faces.
Yeah.
That we can see where we are on the screen.
Yeah, because like we were playing Mario 3D World recently, and we found the co-op to not be so good on that.
Yeah.
Because it didn't zoom out very much when you separated, so you were constantly getting dragged towards each other. Sure. But in this one, you've got like 4 times the screen size, I'd say, when you separated.
Definitely.
And it was very small to look at, but it gave you that freedom. And it looks like it's whoever player 1 is, or whoever creates the lobby, it's their file you play on.
Yeah.
But you can carry the stats of your character over
which is really good.
Onto their file. So if you're new to the game, and say if I start a new file now and introduced your character over to mine, you could just breeze through the dungeons for me. So there is that.
And they help with your campaign.
Yeah. And the online, you can play it with randoms as well as friends. The option to play it with randoms was there, but it said it wasn't available yet because the game's not out. But we were able to do this online together. But because we live in the same house, we were using the same internet connection, same router, and we were in the same house. There was no distance between us.
I mean, there was like 5-6 meters at one point.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But it worked flawlessly.
It was
there was no lag, nothing. It worked absolutely perfect. But again, if we were living in different countries or something like that, it might be different. But from our experience, it worked fine. It was fun. It was a good game to play in co-op as well. It didn't drag down the experience at all.
No. And if one of you dies, you're a little ghost, and the other one takes your skull to a altar, and you resurrect.
Yeah, or you can smash the skull if you want.
Yeah, you can smash it.
So that was basically our casual thoughts on this game. So you think it's a fantastic game?
I love it, it's great.
From what I've played of it so far, I think it's a fantastic game too. So definitely £16, like...
Worth it.
Definitely worth it, definitely. I'm going to play for it all the way. It'll be one of my breaking my backlog games as well. So there we go. So make sure you check out Switch Up's review, or technically our review on Switch Up. That, obviously Glenn makes the video, but we wrote the script.
Yes.
So there's that. So make sure you check out that link in the description. Make sure you give them a subscribe if you like what you see over there. If you'd like to give us a subscribe as well, that would be very, very nice.
That'd be really nice.
So yes, so thank you for watching this review, everyone. See you in the next one.
Goodbye.